I'm glad I made it.
Battery,
Full charge.
my battery's full.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. Let's call it to order. 7:00. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. I see a few snowbirds made it back. Good for you. Oh, that's
A deer.
um. Okay, can we have a roll call, please? Supervisor Bertrand. I'm here. Treasurer Hobbs, excused. Clerk Byrne here. Trustee Monet.
Here.
Trustee Detmer. Excused. Okay, as with our monthly board meetings, we'll start with the board reports. First one being supervisor. I have a couple of things. I'm going to read this off. I had a conversation today with the Holton Lake Ambulance Authority and with Christy Gilliam, the fire chief from Garish. So it is over on the table. This is an update as of today. As supervisor, I talked today with Brad, the director of the Holton Lake Ambulance Authority. That has been his position for 20 plus years. To the best of my understanding, this is the current EMS response status. It might be in your packet, Greg. Yeah, that's right. It's not hearing me. It's in your packet over here, Greg. Oh, okay. All right. To the best of my understanding, this is the current EMS response status. And it's not really different from what has been happening for the last couple of years in Lyon Township. So reading down through this, we do have a contract with Holton Lake Ambulance Authority. They are our primary first choice when an EMS call goes to Roscommon County Central Dispatch. They're located on Old 27 M55 near the State Police Post. If they're not able to roll, the call goes down the chain of adjacent townships in our mutual aid agreement. I just re-signed that mutual aid agreement today with Garish Chief Gilliam present, and then she forwarded to all the other townships in our mutual aid zone. She has or will have by the end of today visited all the other mutual aid townships to make them aware we are still in a mutual aid agreement. I listed them as Beaver Creek, Lake, Markey, Garish, and Denton. I'm not really sure Lake is. The other ones are. For Central Dispatch knows where Holton Lake Ambulance Authority is at all times and will not bother toning them to respond if they already have all ambulances out on call. If Holton Lake Ambulance Authority and Lyon cannot respond to an EMS call, Central Dispatch will tone down the list of mutual aid townships, and one of them will respond to Lyon accordingly. Holton Lake Ambulance Authority operates as an intercept. They can both render aid and go straight to the hospital. When Lyon Township needs to go to the hospital with a patient, Lyon has to wait for Holton Lake Ambulance Authority to get on the scene or another service that can transport to do the transport to the hospital. Lyon Township EMS ambulance also goes if that happens, but can't transport patient. If Holton Lake Ambulance Authority does the aid and transport to the hospital alone, they bill only the patient. If they act as an intercept for Lyon and then transport to the hospital, They charge Lyon Township $250. I have been assured by Garris Chief Gilliam and the Holton Lake Ambulance Authority Director that Lyon Township will have the same EMS coverage this weekend and going forward using that very same combination, Holton Lake Ambulance Authority as primary and mutual aid townships as needed. I'm going to meet with the Holton Lake Ambulance Authority in the near future to work out any additional details. Have a safe and enjoyable holiday weekend. It's not on here, but he said the contracts are usually like 5 years, and apparently we're nowhere near having to renew it, or if we are, I'll find out when I go talk to him. So that's one thing. The other is, I'm sure you're aware that there's recall language filed and there's a hearing on the 26th. I went through the language and I'm not going to hide anything. This is where it's at. This is what I found. The allegation was that it did not pass, or I presented and approved a balance, or did not do a balanced budget. The General Appropriations Act that we passed on Lyon Township on March 25th, that was a vote of 4-1. According to the Michigan Township Association, the reference in the recall language, the number was 141.4908, does not exist. The 517 trash fund expenditure was estimated with previous year's cost to GFL, our carrier, as our trash collection company. There was a deliberation with GFL concerning overcharging by GFL, according to the number of collection points, livable dwellings, in the original contract and the current count. The understanding was that the budget would be amended when the contract was passed with the lower cost, which would balance the budget. The contract is scheduled to be voted on at the May 20th, 2026 meeting, which is tonight. The budget amendment will be presented at the next meeting. According to the Michigan, the two other allegations, one being that I did not pass a resolution to approve bank depositories for 2026. According to the Township Association, there's no requirement to pass a resolution to approve bank depositories unless there's changes in the bank. Third one being that the Township Board, I did not pass a resolution or get a resolution passed stating the salaries of the elected board officials. According to the Michigan Township Association, it's not required to adopt salary resolutions each fiscal year or any specific time. They may be adopted when and as the board wishes to change one or more of the salaries of all 4 offices. There were no changes in 26, 27. I did look at a couple other townships and how they do it. Pretty much hit or miss, but it appears, at least for our township, when the treasurer and clerk got a raise 2 years ago, 2 or 3, they did pass a resolution stating they got a raise. So that's the latest and greatest on that. I don't have anything else other than that as far as supervisor reports. Who would like to go next on our list? We're missing people here. Let's see who is. Supervisor, treasurer, not here. How about the clerk?
All set. Okay, this is up to yesterday. We've wrapped up this year's May election, all handled by the clerk's office and Courtney Holzer's trusted group of election inspectors. There was a couple of little hitches, but it passed. We were off one ballot and we found the ballot. Now on to the August election. Many issues are handled by the clerk's office, including the trailer parking on non-owned property. It's not owned by us. We brought this up last year and nobody has taken any action. whoever the rightful people are, whether it's the highway department or whether it's, the, DNR, the DNR. I don't know if it's resources, and I don't really know if it's the state of Michigan, but we don't have control over the West Higgins Lake between Old 27. That woods down there that's just past the parking lot, we don't control it. It's not our property. The ordinance officer received some complaints as well on some of the same thing. The garbage pickup issues, the leaf pickup, the large item pickups, all these complaints, or most of them, were handled almost immediately by GFL. Not all. Some took a day or two. The road and dump permits are going hot and heavy. The average wait time for a permit is only 2 or 3 days. Minutes have kept us very busy due to the high number of meetings we've had in the past several weeks. We worked out a final meeting concerning the official complaint that was given to the supervisor, and along with Steve Duffler, the trustee, we settled with the complainant and we talked to the building inspector. Everything is fine now. Worked out interaction with both the assessor's office and several meetings weekly with the building inspector. Almost daily conferences with the section, temporarily compost attendant, and ordinance officer. Oh, by the way, that's the same man. Thank you, Bruce Obsidian, for your dedicated service. We've done our best to keep up with the minutes, the filings, the postings, and the newspaper articles posted in a timely manner. We continue to have a great report with most of the township residents. Thank you.
I'm sorry I didn't offer an opportunity if anybody had questions for me, and then we'll follow if anybody has questions for Clerk Pern. Yes, sir, Sam. Meet.
That was governed by the road commission. That's covered by the road commission? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, then we will move on. Trustee Detmer is not here. Trustee Monet certainly is.
Good evening. Thanks for being here. First, I'd like to say, and I'd like to thank Attorney Michael Beal, the Township Attorney, for being here yesterday for the special meeting. I was not able to attend. I thought the meeting was very insightful, very thorough, his explanations. So what I've been doing is that I was given permission last week by this board to contact the attorney directly, and I did. And based on his response, I would say with pretty certain confidence that I'm 99%, because I haven't dissected it, but I have read and seen the video from yesterday. I'm pretty much 99% everything he stated. I'm right on board with. I find it to be exactly some of the stuff this board has been talking about for a long time about short-term rentals. That being said, one thing that I did note in the meeting, and it has become apparently clear to me, that the assertion that we can just pass a police power ordinance to regulate short-term rentals is not a possibility. Attorney Beal made it very clear, excuse me, that on some level, a aspect of zoning will have to be amended to make them legal. Because even if people were permitted to get a license, they still cannot operate under our own rules and guidelines for the township. So that being said, I think this perfectly aligns with what the board passed during our special meeting, that I purposely made the motion ambiguous enough that it clearly stated that the township board would move forward with a zoning use. It didn't say use by right. It did not say use by special exception. It said a zoning use in conjunction with a police power ordinance, which if we do move forward, and no one's saying we have to me, that's still the only logical way to move forward. Along with that, I've been working on, nothing's going to happen anytime soon. So I think it would be very prudent and wise, as we campaigned on, and I've been working on this, to put forth a survey to go out with the fall taxes or summer taxes that are due in the fall. I've drafted that I will present to the board, here shortly in the next, let's say month. It would be nothing more than a simple narrative of, for some on both sides, what would be deemed the pros of short-term rentals, what would be deemed the cons of short-term rentals, and it is nothing more than 7, that's all I have right now, very crucial questions of where does the township stand as a community when it comes to short-term rentals. I think it would be very wise of us to put this forward. People can turn it in with their taxes, they can mail it back with their taxes, and we've never done anything like that yet. Yes, we had a survey online about Parks and Recs, but we did campaign on this, and I think it would be a very, very good idea. So that's what I've been working on, as well as researching still numerous townships in the state and state statutes and such moving forward with the short-term rental ordinance, and what does that actually mean for our community? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next would be maintenance. Do you want to do one for maintenance? Okay, I certainly don't. And next would be fire department. I'm assuming you're here to do something or not? Okay. That moves us to Sexton. Boy, we're striking out left and right here. Ordinance officer. Okay, so hang on a minute. I do have something from Parks and Rec. So, Leanne's daughter's graduation and a couple of other things. Cindy Pop is background. So she sent me this and it'll do, and it is over on the table. This is a review from Parks, Rec, and Cemetery. What's been going on the last month. So Park 27, the ice rink dismantled and the liner stored. Roscommon County Community Foundation grant paid for the liner. The loaner skates are stored. The courts at Park 27 are open. Nets are up. The 4 rolling pickleball nets were sprayed with protectorant and assembled by player volunteers. Park 27 roadside reinstalled on Harrison Road. Request for restrooms to be open. Are they open? Okay, mulch for the playscape area needed. That had to do with the Park 27 playground area. Samoset, mulch was added in the fall zones and added an ADA swing to the existing set, an ADA swing to the existing set. Swim buoys were installed on 519. Recommended Little Willie's replace the current single stall porta potty with a larger ADA unit. Dual purpose for wheelchair users and aid parents in changing small children. Yeah, this has all been getting worked on over the last couple of weeks. Phoenix Park, the lake trout mounting. If you were around, you saw the trout, the mounting bracket, big assembly it's going to hang from, was finished and has been taken to be powder coated. Then the installation would be to be determined and announced, because several people are interested in picture taking opportunities when it actually goes in. Approved future improvements, and they were working on finding a hammock stand to be installed at Samoset, which is the kind that walk down with your own hammock. It's a set thing, and then you hang it up. There was some recommendations. Maybe we put a hammock on it too. I'm not sure where that'll go. It was approved last year, so this is kind of catching up with it. And ongoing focus, constantly working on applying for available grants to improve the park offerings. I know most of this. If anybody's got any questions, you can throw them at me.
By the way, did anyone have any questions for me? I'm sorry, I didn't open that up.
Okay, none for me. Let's. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the reports, if any, and file in the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mhm. Any discussion from the board on that? Hearing none, we'll end the discussion. All those in favor of accepting the reports and filing them in the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed the same. Okay, that motion carries 3-0. Next is to approve the consent agenda. There's a lot of stuff over there. I think I have this accurately reflected. The consent agenda for this meeting contains meeting minutes from April 8th, 2026 board work session, April 15th, 2026 board meeting, April 29th, special board meeting public hearing, May 1st, 2026 special board meeting, May 6th, 2026 special board meeting. Also, the invoice register report, both journalized and unjournalized, from 4/17/26 through 5/21/26. That should be in your packets. Not the minutes, but that should be in your packets. And then the check register report for dates 4/17/26 through 5/21/26, which is also in your, should be in front of you. And then to include the department head and board reports. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as stated. Do we have a second?
I'll give you a second for discussion.
Okay, second by Mr. Perns. Board discussion on it.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask now, it says, for the 5/21 check register report. No, okay, no, I see my mistake. All right, it's fine.
I don't have anything else on it. Do you, Mr. Monet?
Yeah, I do have a couple questions, but I'm not going to address them at this time without Treasurer Hops here or otherwise, so I will just take a pass on that. But thank you.
Okay, any other discussion from the board members present? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda as stated, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed the same.
Nay.
And that motion carries 2-1. That moves us on to board comments. I don't really have any other than busy. Always involved in the agendas that we create. We're really trying to move forward and a lot of things are happening at the same time. So it's busy. Treasurer Hops is not here. Mr. Monet.
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Detmer is not here and Clerk Park.
No.
Okay. Okay, that moves us on to approval of the meeting agenda with additions or modifications. You all have the agenda as it was prepared. I don't have any additions. Because we're missing two people, anything's really significant, I would not vote to approve adding now, but if anybody else has anything that seems to be something we can do right now, please speak up now and we'll put it on there.
Well, I have an addition, please. I was presented with a couple of pieces of paper earlier this week, and I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation of the Fire Chief J.C. Holder and the EMS Coordinator Gail Holder at this time.
Do you want to put it first or do you want to wait on it?
Oh, we can wait to the end. It doesn't matter. It can be number 9.
Yeah, okay, then that makes it number 9.
Probably need a second to add that to the addition, right?
Well, it's in there now.
Okay.
I'll run a motion that
Fine.
as modified, as long as there's nothing else.
Okay, nothing else.
Okay, I don't hear anything else being offered, so I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting agenda as modified. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion from the board?
Yeah, I just have a quick comment. Typical me, of course, is that it wouldn't matter how serious or how, say, mild an issue is. State statute's very clear. At a regularly scheduled meeting, which this is, any lawful business brought before the board can be added to agenda with a majority vote of the sitting board of the quorum that's here. And I just want people to understand that, although it may be a personal opinion of Supervisor Bertrand, that unless it's a special meeting without the entire board sitting here, we cannot alter the agenda. But in this scenario, because this meeting was regularly scheduled for the new fiscal year, anything's open to modifications at a regular meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Where are we at here? Got the second. That was discussion. Any other discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none. All those, I'll make a motion that all, or those in favor signify by saying aye for the modifications.
Aye.
Okay, aye. Those opposed, there will be none. So that motion carries 3-0. Okay, gets us to the agenda. Thing on the agenda is, you're not here sick again, are you?
No,
Tell me.
I keep on swallowing water down my window. I'm so sorry to everyone sitting in here. I know.
Okay, let me get.
It's all this pollen.
Okay, first thing on the agenda was excuse me, first thing is a cost of living adjustment for township employees. We have discussed this. And this is not really a raise, it's to keep up with cost of living. And I do have a sheet, I faxed it out before, but just as a reference, for example, if you are a township employee, and this includes fire department, if you make $20 an hour at 3%, that would give you an increase of 60 cents per hour. If you make $17 at 3%, that's an increase of 51 cents. So I've already talked with Clerk Byrne and Deputy Clerk Holtzel that this is pretty much an easy fix. You just plug it into the system and it'll start adjusting that in the paychecks. So enough talk. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to make a motion so we can have discussion on it, but that's the backstory. So I'll make a motion that we approve a cost of living adjustment in pay for all the non-salary township employees, including fire department EMS at a rate of 3% per hour, effective June 2026 until June 2027. Do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second.
A second by Byrne. Okay, discussion from the board. I don't have any, hearing none. On that motion as stated, could we have a roll call vote, please, Clerk Byrne?
Money involved, though.
That roll call vote,
Okay. Supervisor Bertrand,
yes.
Trustee Monet,
No.
Clerk Pern, yes.
Okay, the other two are not present, so that motion carries 2-1. Next agenda item is a wage increase for Richard Maplebeck. We have discussed this. For those of you who don't know, we intended to do something a while ago, and apparently it just fell through the cracks. Again, we've talked about this. It's time to decide. The only issue here will be the amount of money which we can modify the motion. But I'll make a motion that the board approve increasing Richard Maplebeck's pay to $17 per hour, effective June 2026 until June 2027. Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, Clerk Kern, any discussion from the board?
Not so much maybe discussion, maybe it is, as a comment, is that it was brought up before that there would be the potential of the board to find a way to pay him retroactively, which I am adamantly against. That if it was never an issue before, he's a wise, intelligent gentleman. If his pay wasn't acceptable, it could have been brought up a long time ago. I would definitely not find it acceptable to try to find a way to retroactive his pay. So is this vote tonight going to have any bearing on that?
Bearing. If he gets an increase, it would have a bearing if we were to decide to give him back pay. But giving him back pay is not in this motion.
Yeah, I understand, but it's just,
This is a discussion.
I know, yeah,
I think no, no back pay is involved.
okay. Well, I know it's not right now, but is this a prelude to? So maybe I should just ask, you made the comment, so is it in your,
It is not my intent today to present to the board a motion for them to vote on.
Okay.
And get back pay.
all right,
Any other discussion from the board on this? Okay, on the motion as stated, to increase Richard Maplebeck's pay to $17 per hour, June 2026 till June 2027. Could we have a roll call on that, please?
Yes. Trustee Monet,
no,
Supervisor Bertrand,
Yes. Other two are not here. Okay, well, motion carries 2-1. Third item, the approval of a new GFL contract. This is another, we have discussed this. He emailed it to everybody. I've seen it and we've talked about it. The issue is also, I referenced in the recall language. They owe us a bunch of money. We actually tonight is part of a decision as to whether we're going to chase them around for all of it, some of it, none of it. I wish Treasurer Hops was here, but I know what happened is they offered us some of it. And in the new contract, then the immediate rate was reduced initially, but over the span of the contract, it's going to average out, I think we said, well, there's a percentage because it's going to go up because everything goes up. But initially, it's a pretty good deal and we get a lump sum of money out of it. And if you consider what kind of legal entanglements we might get into in court, using Mr. Bila to try and chase them down for the remainder of that money, here's the contract, and we have to approve this before June 1st. So it is now or not. So you have all had a copy of it, and I'm not going to get into the details any more than that. Treasurer Hobbs did go over it in a couple of meetings, and we certainly need to take an action of some sort. So I'm going to make a motion that the board approve entering into the new GFL contract. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay, and any further or any discussion from the board?
Yeah, I'm just curious again, is the contract for 7 years?
You know, 5 to 7, but don't quote me on that.
I
Don't
remember
know.
hearing 7.
I know it's front loaded to be cheaper, pick up some in the end, but not as bad as the previous one, pick up in the end.
Cool.
Yeah, that's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Any other comment from the board on that?
No.
Okay, hearing none. On the motion to, that the board approve entering into the new GFL contract, we have a roll call vote on that also.
Okay, it does involve money, but it's a reduction of money. So, all right,
Still a big pile.
yeah. Trustee Monet,
Yes.
Supervisor Bertrand,
Yes.
Clerk Kern, yes.
Okay, that motion carries 3-0. Next agenda item. Keep track of my stuff here. This, I think if we do this today with 2 people missing, it's somewhat harmless at this point in time. To pursue a fertilizer setback, and this is for discussion. We talked at our last meeting, Mr. Monet had some ideas, and then I have some information already from bantering this back and forth on detection of fertilizer possibilities in water samples. And we had talked about, I'll bring some stuff here and maybe you had more. Really all I'm looking for, or not me, we need to just decide if we're gonna keep going down this road or not. And I don't know, if we decide tonight to do it, I don't know that that sets anything in stone we couldn't back away from. If we decide not to, I don't think it's set in stone that we couldn't go there in the future when other board members are here. So I will run it as a motion and then we can have discussion. I'll tell you what I got. So I'll make a motion that we do pursue more information on a fertilizer setback for Higgins Lake shoreline and tributaries. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Clerk Kearns, any further discussion from the board after the backstory there?
Yes, I think it needs a lot more investigation. So that's all we're voting on to move it forward. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I have something. This is for you, Mr. Monet. You had said you hadn't checked yet, but I sent you an email with the company that I was corresponding with previous to this. But just real briefly, they do grids in farm fields, water sampling, to try and detect the fertilizer presence or the amount, and then they work it down through tributaries and try and figure out how farm field agriculture may be impacting the water that's making it into the river. So their system actually allows them to determine the difference between fertilizer that has a manure base, which farmers are using all the time, and the fertilizer stuff. So they can't tell a percentage of how much, but they can detect it. So they do this. That's not what I was looking at. I was looking at if they do some samples along the lake shore,
Mm-hmm.
and we did them in the spring. It would tell us if there's fertilizer there. It would tell us if it's not. This would be a baseline then. If we do another sample in the middle of summer or the fall, suddenly it's showing up in places it wasn't before, and it is registering as not as the type of fertilizer that's in, or the type of nitrates in the fertilizer, not manure. Then that's some information that might be useful.
I would agree.
So I'm gonna pass that on to you if you
Yeah.
want to get a hold of that company.
Yeah.
We went back and forth when I finally explained, because they're saying, we do this. And I said, all we want to do is use that method to do a base.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Thank you.
And I would again highly recommend, would you be willing to chair an ad hoc committee?
Oh, sure.
To check into the
Yeah.
situation they complain. There you go. If you got any questions with these people, I've talked a million times, let me know. Okay, any other discussion from the board?
Yeah, yes. That although I'm not opposed to obviously researching this, that for me, I'm not comfortable the way that the motion is presented because it's a decision on pursuing a fertilizer setback ordinance, and we're not even close to that. I would be much more comfortable that we're pursuing knowledge, scientific data, this, and this, to go
Sure.
further with it. But I don't like the idea this is to pursue an ordinance because I think that's really, really putting the cart before the horse. But that's me.
Are you saying, because it says pursue more information?
It doesn't say that. It says decision on pursuing a fertilizer setback ordinance for lakefront and tributaries.
Yes, on your agenda, but the motion I made was to pursue more
It
information.
said this, yeah, it said,
The agenda doesn't say that, but the motion.
Oh, well, I only went by what was in front of me.
Well, then, because I said more than that's on that agenda.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. Absolutely not then.
Yeah, I'm trying not to make anything other than let's look into it some more.
Oh, yeah.
You had a method.
Yeah.
That's what I used before, so
Okay,
it's your baby.
great.
Any other discussion? Any other, that nobody else here?
I know.
Any other discussion from the board on that?
Okay.
Okay, then the motion as stated was to prove that we pursue more information on a fertilizer setback for Higgins Lake, Carolina tributaries. All those in favor of the motion as stated signify by saying aye.
uh,
Aye. Opposed the same. Hearing none, the motion carries 3-0. Number 5. Oh, I didn't strike it when we did the agenda, so I'll go over it, but it's almost pointless. Roscommon County Community Fund, we've been looking at them as the replacement way to procure donations and funds where people could donate them in their will, or you could do 50-50 rallies at concerts or something. Since we lost Friends of Lyon Township, we don't have any way to do this anymore. Roscommon County Community Fund is a situation where we can put seed money into it, and then we are then legally through their titles able to start trying to procure money. There were ideas out of Parks and Rec before about even doing boat poker runs, golf outings, things that are different than picking up cans. Treasurer Hops sat in the last Parks and Rec meeting. And once he heard all the explanation, he was like, I get it now. But he's not here to talk. So if you guys got any comments, go ahead. But I mean, until he or I or a couple more people understand what it's about, we're not going to be able to do anything. It's a matter of finding the money. We have the money. It's a matter of finding the money, deciding to use it for seed money, and then you can't touch it. It sits there and allows us to gather more money. You guys have anything to say? Go ahead. If not, I understand completely because this is.
okay, I think you should leave it on the table for the
Yep.
time being.
Okay, we'll go right on by. Next is to discuss the ANW Consulting Group contract on storm damage. The backstory on this is when the ice storm hit, there was a couple of things that I did. Without calling board meetings, we had phone problems, we had internet problems. The first one was to approve sergeants to come in and help us burn that pile to get rid of it to make room for the storm damage stuff. And I did. At our last meeting, I told the board that's what I happened. That is my obligation. If I do something without the board approval is to let you know. The other thing I did was after about a week into it, Vanessa, the emergency manager, told me, you need to keep track of all of this. You need to track the paperwork. I will send the forms. You can get reimbursed for this stuff. I had no intention of putting the reimbursement on my shoulders as far as going through paperwork as intensive as the state wants. Amanda's consulting group, she's really good at that stuff. And I said, would you do it? She said, sure. Right now, we're in a position where she actually has done almost all of it and has, I believe, 3 to 4 hours into it. Since then, the recall started on me. And I talked with her a little bit about this. This is, it's a contract. You should have one in front of you in your stuff. I don't want to read through the whole thing. But what it does kind of is says, okay, this happened. We're okay with paying you that the rate we pay her, which is $60 an hour as a consultant to do the work. And she goes on to spell all the things that she did in here, but primarily now, because since this started, now the word is, wait a minute, FEMA's not even going to get involved. Maybe there won't be, which didn't make me very happy because that's not what they told me in the beginning. And then now the flood took precedent over everything. So we may never see anything in relation to the ice storm damage. In either case, we won't see it for a year. As far as the compost site and the burning, we'll break even on that because we burned it, had to pay for machinery. The cost to chip it was already in the budget. We'll be close to even. So what this is a more legitimate contract that also holds her not liable. Like if we don't get any money, it's not her. She did a great job going through the paperwork. She worked with Courtney on it. And Courtney and I talked, we're just like, this can't be us. This stuff is very difficult to understand. So the bottom line, I think, is important at this point. Because she will submit the hours, I believe it's 3.5 or something, for our next board meeting. But any post-submission support, so the last part of this is any assistance required by the township regarding audits or requests for information following the initial submission will be billed as a separate engagement. So in other words, if the submission happens and then she still has to chase this stuff down with the state, that those would be additional hours to this. So the contract brings us kind of up to this point. We will look at the hours she had up to this point and approve it or not. And then going forward, this is the contract that we operate. So all of that being said, for the sake of any other further discussion, I'll make a motion that the board approve the A&W Consulting Group contract on storm damage. Do we have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, where am I at here? Second. You have, okay, second by Vern. Any further discussion from the board?
Yes. Thanks,
Go
Michael.
ahead, son.
So I guess I'm a little confused. I've seen that parts of that before, so I'm okay with that. It stated, is this the same one that you're reading that's on here? The decision on approval of the contract for storm damage.
Yes, in your pack.
No, I don't. And it's not in here either. No, we don't.
Let's
That's all right. That's all right.
go past.
I-
Because
I looked at all these.
Past all that.
Oh, and there it is. Well, that's here nor there. I don't really care because
It's there now.
yeah, it is there. I just looked, everyone saw like probably 5 times. But it says for storm damage reimbursement services. Well, to me, reimbursement means that they've already done work and there should be a dollar amount attached to that. Do we have any idea? Because I understand what you're saying. This would move us forward, but
Moves us forward with a contract.
what's the cost?
Read the part you're saying again.
What's the cost so far?
She's got 3 to 4 hours in this at $60 an hour.
But there's no definitive dollar amount presented to the board. I'm just asking.
Right.
For-
It would be submitted in the next round for the next board meeting. As far as payables, she'll submit those hours.
So is this approving reimbursement for just those 3 hours?
No, the reimbursement statement has got to do with the reimbursement money we could potentially get from the state, from FEMA. Where are you at in there? Let me look at that part again. For the are you looking at the agenda again?
Yeah,
That's,
Yeah,
I cut everything down on that agenda to a narrower.
storm damage reimbursement services, but there's no dollar amount. So
No,
this is
but-
just,
The agenda is only referencing that we're going to talk about that.
so is this open-ended then? For work to be,
Hang on, let me finish my thought here because I'm old.
Me too.
I put the short version on the agenda. The discussion includes the fact that this is work that she did on paperwork that we need to file to get reimbursement money from the state or from FEMA. So the reimbursement amount is unknown. The amount of hours she has in this is between 3 and 4. This contract allows for the fact, the main thing being, we're not gonna hold her responsible if the
Right,
state doesn't
right.
give us any money.
absolutely.
And once we do submit the forms, if the state says I need this or we need more,
Okay.
that she would do it.
All right. I read it as that this was money, there was a dollar amount that's unknown that we already owe her, but it sounds like it's only for that 3 hours, but this is so it can move for, okay. Got it.
Oh, yeah, the dollar
Yep,
amount,
got
I mean, originally this was, you'll get all the money back. Oh,
Well, if I can interject, yeah, we were misled badly. We thought we were gonna get all this stuff back. Plus the work that everybody put in
Mhm.
over there, rather than just get their salary for doing the hours work. But this, I think, mostly is for that post-submission support.
Yeah.
So we can give her, a little bit of, leeway there if she has to do more work. We're not approving
Right.
the amount, that'll
Yep.
be the next meeting.
One final question then.
Okay.
Without board approval, how did she even work the 3 hours at this point, up to this point?
that was what I did as far as a supervisor during the emergency declaration.
There you go.
And I am now,
Nope, that's,
again,
yeah, I'm just,
Mr. Mueller. When that happens, I come to the next meeting
Yep.
when it's being processed
Yep.
and I let you know that that's exactly what I did.
thank you.
Okay, so yeah, you got enough. You know how the agendas are pared down on purpose. That's,
Mhm.
sorry about that.
Nope, that's all right. That's,
Okay, so
It's not like I don't
let me
like
get back to where I was here. So I did make the motion that we approve the A&W contract on storm damage. Is there any further discussion from the board?
Nope.
Okay, let me make sure I get. Okay, we'll end the discussion and this is money again, so roll call vote, please, Clerk Kern.
Clerk Byrne, yes. Supervisor Bertrand,
Yes,
trustee Monet.
yes.
okay, that motion carries 3-0. Okay, this is another thing that should be in your packet. It looks like this.
Right there.
Okay. This happened fast. And there is some backstory, so I'll drone on here for a little while. Parks and Rec, I caught up with Parks and Rec on this over the last week, but it was offered to me that someone could come in and had the machinery and the time to improve the seating area at the concert in front of the amphitheater at Park 27 for the concerts. You should have something in there in your packet. If you turn to that first page, there's pictures there.
Mm-hmm.
So using AI, he sent me these pictures that show what it looks like now, and I was aware of it because if you look at where the amphitheater is, it faces straight out. Everything to the left is brush, junk, leaves, stumps. Everything to the right is seating area, so it's kind of like lopsided. And for whatever reason, he had been in there and looked at it, and he said, "Hey, I can take care of that for you." And then he sent me these pictures, and I sent them to Parks and Rec, and I said, "Just throw it around a little bit, don't vote." And generally, they're an improvement. So you have the handout. The purpose would be to expand the seating area straight out from the amphitheater more in a fan shape, rather than being this kind of a lopsided thing. That we have now. And in my opinion, this is a good bid for the work. I had some additional information when he was talking to me about it. So the bid, actually what he bid in total for the hydro seeding was $3,200. And I'll get into how that happened, but for this, for options on, it's 4,500 square feet. For what he's doing, cut mulch, remove small brush, saplings, hydro seed, and the stumps, you could easily be looking at 55.6. And then the top end being like 8,000 plus if you brought in black dirt. But we're not talking about bringing in black dirt. We're talking about taking the brush out, running a soil conditioner over that flattens it all out, do some light grading, and then hydro seed it, power it in, and do it. Now, he had just, part of the reason he asked is he had just started doing his hydro seeding because last week the temperatures came up where you could do it. Anybody who did it before that had had frost on it, it killed it off. So this is the right time. We have a little over 4 weeks to the first concert. I would assume that within 3 weeks that grass will be up and growing. But again, we can't water it. This is somewhat of an act of faith, but there is shade there. What else? There is money in the Park and Rec and Cemetery Fund for this improvement. And the Park and Rec Fund is in favor of improvements for the park, including this. So in the bid itself, if you look down, it didn't print everything I wanted it to, but the unit price to do the work with the soil conditioning machine was $1,700. 5 stumps was another $750. I made a mistake and went after the price of regular seeding. Just do it by hand, $375. Hydro seeding, the minimum charge was $500, and I went with that initially. But after he measured the area, that's just minimum. So for the hydro seeding, it came out being, where am I? If you add up the 1,700 to 750, then plus the hydro seeding, I believe was another 750 for that size there. So we landed at $3,200. He can do it before Monday. And that's important here. If we screwed around and wait a couple weeks, you're going to have less of a possibility on the hydro seeding. So I'm bringing it to the board tonight to see if we can make this happen, again, using the Park and Rec money. So I'm going to make a motion for the purpose of discussion that we approve this contract from Landworks of Northern Michigan to do the work as stated at Park 27 Amphitheater area. Do I have a second?
I'll give you a second.
Okay, a second from Mr. Kern. Further discussion from the board.
Yeah, so what is the total, and is it that 3312 is the total?
I have 32. Yes, there, I did write it. I wrote on it. Yeah. So with everything included, it was 3312.
Okay, well, I will say some things that the way it is now, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. If you're looking from the amphitheater, from places for people to sit, if it go out that far, yeah, this is certainly a nice improvement. I know it's artificial information, but nevertheless, if this works and it's going to be like that, it's a major improvement for not a ton of money. But there's no guarantee this is going to fill in real nice, or does he have a guarantee?
No, but because we don't have a watering system,
Actually,
we're going to have to rely on Mother Nature. But at the same time, you know how, I mean, everything around here, if it's green, you know, it gets cut and it looks like it gets to be part of the lawn. So nobody's gonna go out there weeding whatever comes up. Whatever comes up would, I think, start expanding just like everything else around here in your lawns if you're not fertilizing.
Hmm.
The lawn is slowly gaining on the dirt at all times.
Okay.
I have a question. Since this didn't print in full, so these figures, is this 375 voided right here?
Yeah,
370,
that would be avoided, and it's be 750.
which is at the bottom. All right.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, so at 3312, I am just curious in what the other 112, because 1700, 750, and 750 equals the 3200. What's the other 112 for?
Oh, I knew you were gonna ask me that. On the bid itself,
Is it processing fees? It says here, maybe. I don't know.
that's what.
All right, it's cut off.
And the process of doing it, and I'm assuming there was a fee or possibly the software to do the AI stuff. Maybe. It's kind of neat, you know, that you could do that, but, yeah, processing.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah,
That's what that-
and then I guess, I mean, I'm a huge gardener. I've never hydro seeded, but so close to a concert, we spend $3,300 to put grass down and seed and do that. The clean out sounds great. It hopes it grows just for people to trample it when it's barely coming out of the ground, thus kind of nullifying the fact why we put it there in the first place. I don't believe 3 weeks is a long enough time, in my opinion, to spend $3,300 for grass that may or may not grow and then just get trampled in one concert series.
I'm saying that in 3 weeks, it should be up and sprouted. It'll be 5 weeks till the first concert and then continually
I don't
growing
know.
from that point on.
5 weeks. I don't know anything about hydro seeding. I just know that, I don't know.
Well,
This is just a comment, I guess.
no, I originally was not for the hydro seeding
Yeah.
because I thought we were too late. But actually, this is the example. Nighttime temperatures averaging.
I agree with that part from my limited experience.
So
Yeah, if it's not trampled on it, is my,
I would assume that some of it is gonna
Yeah.
get stepped on.
yeah.
I would assume that it can spring back and grow short of somebody digging into it. We'll see. It's
Yeah.
what I don't want to do is have the landscaping work done and leave a big mud dirt pit there. That is to me, the least favorite option. If we hand seed it, it's probably not going to take nearly as well, so.
Right.
Timothy, let me get this straight then. Are we saying that the 2450 is okay to get rid of the debris and the stumps and all this other, but the hydro seeding is what you had an issue with?
Yeah, I mean, I think cleaning it up, if you look at it, is a great idea and remove some of the brush, shrubs and other stuff too. I'm just not so sure at this time of year, I don't know, it just, maybe I'd have to do more research about hydro seeding. I just don't know how it's gonna
They
take.
had two neighbors, one, and each, they had the hydro seeding done. They had to water twice a week. You know.
Like, if they have a concert series right on top of it as it's growing.
But they don't have those trees either, and nobody was trampling on it. That's true. That is.
I don't know. But anyway, that's, yeah.
Well,
Thought.
it is a motion. I can,
No, that's fine.
well, the other options are actually two. Would you like to be in charge of an ad hoc committee to put up the grass seed
No, thank you.
and rake it in and try and get it to settle in there? Because part of this is, once he runs that soil conditioner on there, it's loosened up and it's ready to go.
Sure.
My first thought was, well, why don't we seed it in the fall? If you wait till the fall, you gotta run the conditioner over and bust it all up.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to go out there and put grass seed in by hand and rake it all down and in,
Well, that's still not gonna
please
take,
volunteer now.
that's still not gonna take time.
Grass seed is also not cheap.
Yeah.
It's decent stuff.
And the other thing was in the fall, the expectation prices will go up. He's bidding this on last year's prices for the materials. Yeah, is it perfect? Probably not. Is it a good idea? Probably.
Do you have, and real quick, one final, do you have any idea what this sentence started out saying? Something to water properly may result in, this is from them, may result in poor germination, thin areas, bare spots, or complete failure of the seed to establish. And that's
That's,
not,
I'm saying that we do not have
Yeah.
a sprinkler system.
yeah,
He offered to put one in for
Sure.
us, but I won't tell you for how much.
right.
Um,
Because it doesn't say anything about should not be walked on for a minimum of so many days or weeks if you're gonna spend the money, but that's fine. I'm good.
Well, and the Parks and Rec Committee is aware of all this too. Not that it's their money. I mean,
Did they approve this?
we did not approve it at a meeting, have a general consensus.
Sure.
And, because of the speed factor involved, it's like he's either doing it right away or it ain't happening. So. And that
Very good.
wasn't on him. I pushed that point. Actually got him to agree to do it before Monday so that we could talk about it.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so back, well, any other comments or discussion from the board? Okay, then on the motion to approve the contract from Landworks of Northern Michigan for $3,312. Could we have a roll call, please, Clerk Pond?
Supervisor Bertrand,
That would be a yes.
trustee Monet,
No,
clerk Pern, yeah.
Okay, the motion carries 2-1. Next, and you should have this as next. Back
Yeah.
stuff.
I have.
This is from the county treasurer, they sent, Treasurer Hobbs a list of all foreclosed properties in Lyon Township. Apparently all the townships, to see if the townships are interested in purchasing any of the tax foreclosed properties. The only thing I asked, was, is there any waterfront? Of course not. A lot of it apparently is backlots, either like in Shopnagons or Hillcrest subdivisions. Certainly not interested in, that's not going to do us as a township any good.
More parking for boats. I'm kidding.
So when we're done with this, remind me, I do have info on that.
Okay.
Well, I can do it in announcements.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the total extent. He did email it to everybody. So we're sitting here looking at it. So for the point of discussion, I'll make a motion to inform the county treasurer that Lyon Township is not interested in purchasing tax foreclosed properties in 2026. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, further discussion from the board.
Does this get made public? Could they not all have a chance to take a look at these things? I know we're not interested as a township to do, but hell, there might be people out here that do want to get an extra lot here.
Well, those are open for auction.
My impression was they're giving the townships a first shot.
I see.
They're always in the paper, like when it comes down to it. Let me read this significant previously.
But is the paper this big and not everybody would see it?
It's pages of stuff.
Yeah, I know. And they're pretty small ad.
Paying the minimum bid and then a significant at first refusal. Oh, okay. We could have got it at right of first refusal at a minimum bid. Now it has to be fair market value. Apparently we get first shot one way or the other. Not me. Any of you guys got any?
No.
All right, so any further discussion from the board on that? Okay, hearing none, the motion is to inform the county treasurer that Lyon Township is not interested in purchasing tax foreclosed properties in 2026. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right. Opposed, the same. Motion carries at 3-0. Where is the addition? Okay, this then brings us to number 9, which was a modification and added. Having to do with the resignation of our interim fire chief and our EMS coordinator, along with some other duties they're performing. Mr. Pern, did you want to go somewhere with that, or?
Well, I just thought I'd take a motion to get it off our chest and try to move in a different direction, as soon as we can, but you have explained about coverage and things like that, pretty well, I think. So I would just like to make a motion to accept the, resignation of, J.C. Holder and Gail Holder as, current fire chief and EMS coordinator.
Okay, make the motion to accept the resignation letters from both. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Okay, any further discussion from the board?
I have something. If Greg has anything. You want to go, Greg?
I guess I do.
Okay.
I don't like the way that this ended, but I'm certainly grateful for the time that you guys put into this. There's no doubt that your dedication was there. That's all I have.
Yeah, I'd like to thank them both for their service. That being said, I don't feel, as mistakes have been made in the past and we learned from our mistakes, I don't think this should be hashed out in public at all. I mean, I thank them for their service. I think we need to leave it at that and, yeah, move on if that's what we decide.
Well, no hashing out, just,
I know, I'm just saying though, like, you know,
preference to accept. them.
yeah, absolutely. But other than that, yeah, I don't think
Oh,
there should be any more
go in
comment.
there. Okay, any other board comments on the motion to accept the resignations?
Oh, I do have one more suggestion. I'm sorry.
Right.
We should probably be accepting them individually because they don't come as a team.
You are correct, sir. Let me restate the motion to accept the resignation of J.C. Holder, and I'll read off what it is. Firefighter, fire chief with Lyon Township Fire and EMS. I have a second for that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion from the board? Hearing none on the motion to accept J.C. Holder's resignation from position of firefighter, fire chief with Lyon Township Fire and EMS effective immediately. Can we have a roll call vote on that, please, just for the clarity?
Trustee Monet,
Yes.
Clerk Pern, yes. Supervisor Bertrand.
Yes. Okay, that motion carries 3-0. Next motion would be to accept the resignation of Gail Holder effective or from the position of EMS coordinator, EMT firefighter, effective immediately. Can I have a second on that?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. Having a second, is there any further discussion from the board? Nope. Okay, hearing none on the motion to accept the resignation from Gail Holder from the position of EMS coordinator, EMT firefighter, effective immediately. Could we have a roll call vote on that too also?
Clerk Pern, yes. Supervisor Bertrand.
Yes.
Trustee Monet.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries 3-0. Where are we at here? I do believe that, excuse me, I do believe that's the end of the agenda. So I will move into announcements. I've been in touch with Deputy Sheriff and Garrison. We're starting to have meetings. We will be included in the process of what Garrett Township did last year. You're probably familiar, I'll restate it though. Garrett Township last year put a concerted effort into letting people know that they would be towed if they were parking in places they shouldn't be parked, private property, roadsides. I think much to everyone's surprise, that blew up on Facebook and turned into a regular thing. And most people who come up here who don't know anything about it, they don't know townships. They don't know Higgins Lake. All they know is Higgins Lake. They had a serious reduction over there in Garrish Township, and so did we. We got a kind of a kickback on it. Last couple of years, I've measured the distance that they're parking at the boat launch on Old 27. 2 years ago, it was a mile long. For this last 4th of July, and you're looking at Facebook, you're looking at 500-600 people are making comments about go to Higgins Lake, you're going to get towed away. The parking on Old 27 barely exceeded the extremities of the parking lot. That was like a dramatic change. So this year I tried to offer our services to help them out more with that purpose, but we're basically pushing it that Higgins Lake is going to do something if you come up here and start parking all over the place. So he replied, they're working on their version of it, then he'll get a hold of us and we'll see what we can do to potentially assist him. Treasurer Hobbs had a meeting scheduled with the DNR also about this matter. I can tell you that I went to the safety meeting last year and everybody has been to the DNR more than once. That seems to be a real difficult thing, and the county will not put in no parking signs willy-nilly like that without traffic studies. But what they did last year had a serious kickback on Facebook, and that worked, and I'd like to try and duplicate it again this year to the best of our ability and help more. So that's my announcement. Anybody else got anything that, well, as far as an announcer? Oh. Okay, then we are now to public comment. To raise your hand, and I'll recognize you and you can come right on up. Hopefully the batteries in that mic are good. Who would like to come up? And we'll give you 5 minutes. There's a little leeway on that, but let me make sure this thing's still working. Generally, if we can help you with a question, yeah, but also this is time for you to comment, not necessarily back and forth. For me personally, if I think I can help you, I would, but I can't guarantee. But you have to do that mic or just state your name first.
Karen Trout, Lyon Township. Some of the items in the agenda, I just didn't understand all the details and the story behind them, but I understand we're giving a COLA for non-existent fire and EMS salaries. We don't have fire and EMS persons there, but we've approved a COLA increase for them. Is there anybody still on call at the fire department? Do we have any people there?
Yes. But the motion for the cost of living, it was all the employees who weren't salary. But yes, there are some fire department personnel still here.
And what are they doing then if we can't answer fire calls or do EMS runs?
I'm not going to answer that. We have Mr. Quelling is the current captain. He's going to work with us and we're going to move forward.
Okay. The GFL, you said owes us a bunch of money, but the amount was never stated. What is the lump sum that they're supposed to be giving to us? And where does that go back into?
18,000, I believe, is what they offered. I could be wrong there,
Approximately.
but without it, that's what treasurer ops is for, but it's not. I believe it's 18,000. It could be a little more, a little less, and that goes right back into the trash fund to help offset the trash fund.
Okay. Tim, I just wanted to make sure that, if you're looking at researching fertilizer stuff, that we don't focus on lakefront people only, that
Absolutely not. I made that very clear.
entire watershed impacts.
Absolutely.
Stuff this. And why did we lose the Friends of Lyon Township? What happened to that?
Sad story. They were very, very good, very helpful, and due to, now how can I say this gracefully? Time wears everybody out. There was a kind of a lack of ability to keep pursuing it as hard as they were, as far as food drives and cans and I tried to resurrect it in name only, so that we could then pursue getting different people in the offices because it was a nonprofit. So that was important. And right at the end, they really were not interested. So if we couldn't piggyback off of the old positions and just keep moving, then it turned into we're just not going to be able to do this. To start all over would be a considerable amount of money, legal fees to do it.
Regarding the ice storm thing, we talked about that contract. You guys approved the contract. How long is that contract for?
But, well, as stated in there is if they pursue more information from us, that she would be, by the contract available to continue to work for that rate of pay.
For how long?
We're not going to see reimbursement money for a year, but it's not like she's constantly going to be asked if something comes up. But I believe the ice storm in Gaylord, and by the way, I was up there and looked at that. Oh my Lord. It killed miles and miles and miles of trees. They just now are starting to get some reimbursement.
But
That
we
was-
don't have an end date. We don't have an end date or a length of time for the contract.
No, the contract does
Ongoing.
not have a length of time on it,
Okay.
but you could expect that once the reimbursement is made, it's going to be a long time before anything. Initially, this was a FEMA, and then all of a sudden now FEMA's not in it.
Okay.
The saying, I should have had everything get handed to me in writing. But when you got no power and everybody's freaking out, things were happening really fast.
Okay. The seating for the Parks and Rec pavilion, did somebody complain about that to get this whole bid going, or is that just coming up on our own?
No, I knew it was there. The contractor had came to me because apparently he realized what he could do in that area. And at that point, I got interested, and I hadn't actually realized that when you stand in front of that amphitheater, I actually think the previous board had maybe intended to do this, also, because it's like they only did one section of a fan shape, but the building faces like this. So why not face the building towards what you did? If the building faces this way, then you're eventually looking at trying to have a fan shape. And the area was there. The stumps were cut from, looked to me be Oakwell 3, 4, 5 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
So maybe it was in the plan. I don't know.
I don't know. But if you put down new seed without a watering plan, I think that's a huge gamble. And should you decide to take that gamble, why can't you just cordon off that area for the first concert or two and let the grass grow and not let anybody trample on it?
No reason at all. Great idea.
How many properties were you guys offered for foreclosure?
You do have 5 minutes.
We got
Right.
none of this, but,
I don't know how many there were because my interest only was involved if there was something that would really benefit us.
Okay.
If you're familiar, and you probably are, Shopnagons and Hillcrest, there's all kinds of houses. You're going to do anything for us.
Okay, those were all the questions I had from the agenda item.
Those are things I can answer with.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Who else would like to be next? Mr. Barta, come right on up there. You're an old hand at this. What's the battery indicator on that thing saying?
It looks good. Oh,
Okay, and then your voice is big, so don't get too close to it or it garbles it on that.
all right,
video.
all righty. A couple of things. First of all, John Barton, Lyon Township. I know that, talking about parking, HLPOA had their Roscommon County Safety, Committee meeting just within the last, few weeks. I know that there was an invitation to our board, and I was disappointed to learn that nobody attended.
Which organization again?
The HLPOA put out, they have their annual Roscommon County Safety Committee meeting.
Is that, because
Never seen it.
there is a safety committee, but it's not just HLPOA.
No, they sponsor it. The state police are there.
I went to
Sheriff.
one last year, John Ogren and,
Yeah, yep, I
Sheriff,
believe that's
prosecutor.
the one that was missed. Yeah, in fact, I was talking to Charlene Cornell about, the results, because I was very interested in parking. And she said, yeah, there was an invitation that came to the township and, no one showed up and nobody RSVP'd. So, it's just unfortunate that, we do have a lot of safety issues and, nobody participated. So, yesterday's meeting, between the Lyon Township Board and the Township Attorney, Michael Bila, clarified several critical issues regarding the proposed short-term rental ordinance. Most importantly, the attorney outlined 3 possible approaches available to the township: a zoning-only ordinance, a police power only, or a blended ordinance combining zoning and police powers. What became immediately clear during that discussion is that a police-only ordinance would not work under the township's current ordinances because STRs are not presently allowed within the zoning ordinance. In other words, before STRs could legally exist in residential districts, the zoning ordinance itself would have to be amended. The attorney further explained that a blended approach provides the township with the greatest ability to regulate and control STRs, while zoning alone merely determines where STRs may exist. This raises several important concerns that deserve serious reflection by the board. First, this level of legal clarification should have occurred before the Planning Commission was tasked with reviewing the STR issue. The board should have first conducted a comprehensive discussion with the township attorney, established a clear direction, and then provided the Planning Commission with specific guidance. Instead, the Planning Commission was placed into a process without the board itself fully understanding the legal framework and options available. Second, much of the confusion, conflict, and delay surrounding this issue could have been avoided. There's been repeated frustration expressed about how long this process is taking, yet the recent attorney meeting demonstrates exactly why a structured process is necessary. Complex legal and zoning matters require full vetting at the beginning, not after drafts have already circulated publicly and positions have hardened. A comprehensive initial meeting with the attorney involving multiple board members should have been standard procedure from the start. Third, during the recent discussion, Attorney Michael Bila communicated numerous elements of STR regulation that were new to board members. Some of those options had likely already been communicated to Supervisor Bertrand during one-on-one conversations with Mr. Bila. That raises serious questions regarding how information was being conveyed to the rest of the board. Why were these options and legal considerations not more fully explained earlier? Was there an incomplete understanding of the issues? Were enough questions not being asked? Or was the process being directed toward a preferred outcome before all available options had been openly discussed? Regardless of the reason, the outcome is undeniable. The board was operating without complete information on a highly consequential issue affecting the entire township. Had this public meeting not occurred, the township could easily have proceeded down an erroneous and incomplete path. That should concern every board member and every resident. This situation also exposes a serious structural problem with current policy, allowing only one board member to communicate directly with the township attorney. Important legal guidance should not be filtered through a single individual before reaching the full board. Multiple board members need direct participation in discussions involving complex legal and policy matters so that everyone receives the same information at the same time. The current resolution restricting communication with the attorney to one board member should be rescinded. Is that my time? I got about a minute left.
30 seconds to wrap it up. You can do it.
In addition, finally, the conflict and division surrounding the special meeting to move forward on the STR blended ordinance could likely have been avoided altogether had the board undertaken a complete attorney review earlier in the process. The residents of Lyon Township deserve decisions that are based on complete information, open discussion, and a fully informed board. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I would comment on one thing only. The process prohibited us as board members from going to planning commission meetings. We were directly told, if you go sit in the corner, don't say anything, because we cannot be perceived to be unduly trying to influence them. The process included that the information was to come from the township board to me, from me as the chair, to the chair of the planning commission, from the chair of the planning commission to the planning commission. There has always been resistance to me in many things that I do. There was a resistance to that too. I would have loved to have tried to clear things up. We passed an ordinance and gave it to them. Well, we gave it to them for their review. At that point, it had to play out. Now, did I at times contact the board through Mr. Bedoyan? Yes.
I understand, and that my point is that all of that should have happened prior to the ordinance being submitted to the planning commission and involved more board members with the attorney.
All right, I hear you. I hear you.
I'd like to make a comment if I could real quick, John. With all due respect, and I don't say this very often, I did not learn one thing new yesterday. I have been touting this stuff to the board on and off for the last 6 months. And it's one thing to say, but when you say the board, I think sometimes there has to be some credit due, because a lot of people know I have spent 7-8 months working on this. I've offered up the different explanations for the different ordinances. I went through and explained what state statute says, what other townships say, Supreme Court rulings, and Mr. Bila has agreed with me on those findings. So sometimes a little credit, maybe where credit is due, just like I know you do a lot of research, and I'm grateful for that. Even like I had mentioned when you weren't here about the Crystal Lake Township, I was glad you referenced that so I could look into it. I don't think it's entirely fair at all times to just say the board when there are clearly people on the board who are doing their due diligence, especially with something so important. But thank you.
May I read 3 more sentences? In addition, the treatment of Mr. Monet throughout the process deserves reconsideration. Mr. Monet consistently raised concerns and advocated for what now appears to be the legally appropriate blended approach. Yet rather than engaging those concerns constructively, he was often dismissed or ostracized for his persistence. Now that the attorney has effectively confirmed the necessity of the blended direction, the board should reflect carefully on how dissenting viewpoints are treated during important policy debates.
Thank you, John.
Sir. Who else would like to make a comment here this evening? Come right on up, sir. Just go ahead and state your name before you start.
Ryan Mockmer, Lyon Township.
You might have to come in a little bit, but don't eat it or it'll.
Ryan Mockmer, Lyon Township. So I just have some questions in regards to the seating at the amphitheater. I guess I'm just confused as why there's an urgency now, and it sounds like there was only one contract considered. As somebody that's in the area, that's concerning to me, that it feels rushed, just from the outside looking in. I'm not saying it is. I just want to make that statement so it's on the record that it feels rushed and forced and just, that's my concern. Thank you.
Well, thanks, sir. Anybody else like to come up and say something this evening? Sure, Mr. Trout's come on up.
Jason Trout's Lyon Township. Just want to make sure that everyone's aware that I'm not in support of a short-term rental. I purchased a home as an R1 in the community of R1s. I did not sign up for a hotel or a motel being next door or a couple doors down, or maybe on all four sides of me. Well, excuse me, three sides of me. Number two, reason for that is Lyon Township does not enforce its ordinances under this administration. It simply doesn't. And as I've stated in the past, we're spending hundreds of hours on chicken ordinances and short-term rental ordinances and maybe fertilizer ordinances, a lot of other ordinances that are never going to be enforced. The short-term rental attorney even admitted that it would be very costly to pursue enforcement. We could enforce it right now because our zoning says we have R1. We don't need an ordinance. We have one. It's the zoning ordinance. I'm in an R1. My neighbor's in an R1. Camouflaging it with a smoke and mirror approach and pretending that we're going to have an ordinance enforcement under your administration isn't going to go anywhere. Observation tonight, I was a little bit concerned. I believe the largest budget item that we have in the township, and it's difficult to get the budget figures and the actual expenses year to date from you guys, even with FOIA requests, is our trash removal. And we approved the trash budget tonight. But in observation, it didn't appear as though all the board members actually knew the details of the terms and conditions of that contract. And that kind of frightens me. As a business manager, I didn't approve anything, especially the most expensive line item, without an understanding of what the terms and conditions were. The next thing that I have, Paul, I believe you have your court hearing on your recall on March 26th at 11 o'clock, isn't it?
Yes.
I think it's that.
May 26th.
And you addressed that at the beginning of the meeting. The points that are, I believe, going to be perhaps accepted in the wording for the
Yes.
recall. But I think there's a bigger issue. Whether the dark money is pushing other agendas or not, but there's a bigger issue than just what's on that piece of paper. And it's something that has to be recognized and addressed. And I wish you good luck. That's my only comments.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Jason.
Who else would like to come up and make a comment tonight? That's what we're here for.
Pat Springstead, Lyon Township. On the short-term rental situation, I have a neighbor, a couple neighbors. One of the neighbors has a short-term rental. They redid the house, spent a bunch of money on it, and then they rented it out for the whole summer. One of my neighbors has had to live next door to this place for years, putting up with people in, people out. There's some people are fine and some people are really not good at all. But she has to literally every week put up with new people. This is a R1 zone. In R1 zone, you should get what you paid for, which is a piece of property with peace and quiet. I had a situation where my neighbor between me and the rental said to me, I had a guy come here and offer to buy my house because he wants to turn it into a short-term rental, tear it down and build a new house. I was put in a position where we're going to have 2 short-term rentals between me and my other neighbor. In the end, I ended up purchasing the property, okay? Because you know what? I don't want the short-term rental next to me. I'm really lucky in one way because I have a road in next to me. People come down, go swimming and use it. And that's wonderful because that's what it's there for. But you know what? That's a piece of cake compared to a short-term rental. And I'm pretty sure that anybody that lives next to it, okay, a short-term rental, will say the same thing. So I think the board should think long and hard when it comes to this, because it's your obligation to protect your taxpayers. And those taxpayers would be us. And a lot of times, the people that live on the lake are criticized, but you know what? Without our tax base, wouldn't be too good, would it? Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else want to come up and make a comment tonight? Come on up.
Voice is probably loud enough. Harry Johnson, Lane Township.
As long as you don't get like
Yeah.
10 inches or so, it should come out all
My
right.
voice carries pretty good. So effectively tonight, you've eliminated our fire department and EMT service. If you understand how they run, you don't have one now. So that affects all of our insurances. It affects the response times, affect your house insurance, things like that. So you need to move very quickly and put something back into place. I don't know if you had a chance to think of what now, but you're giving up a huge service that we really shouldn't be without. Focus on ordinance.
Please don't make comments from the side because it won't come out on the microphone and it. You know, you had your chance to speak, but go ahead, Harry.
You might want to think about that before you let them go. So plan B was already in place, at least get them to hang on long enough. So you could put a plan B in. Because for us to not have one increases your response times tremendously on both fire and EMT. So you need to do something really quick. Have you given any thought at all?
It's your turn to speak, not mine.
No, okay. Well, think about it hard.
Thank you. Anybody else got anything they'd like to say tonight? Are we down to you already, Sam?
Dan Bedoyan Jr., Lyon Township. I'm not asking questions, I'm just going to comment. The agendas that you have on that table, when we walked in, is it the same on your website?
Yes.
Okay. Where we found that there was an indifference on the agenda we received there. And then on the website, it was different. What if we showed you that?
If it was, well, I can answer that. Recently, I do the agenda and then I send it right to the company for the webpage. There was a couple of months ago, things were getting really honky. I don't know if you referred to recently or not.
No.
The point is that every effort is made that the agenda is typed up and sent to the company to post it exactly like that.
Can I comment, Sam? Do you mind? Can I make a comment? Do you mind? No disrespect, and you know me well enough. This is no disrespect. I'll just make it clear for the people who are here that under state statute, at a regularly scheduled meeting, an agenda is nothing more than a courtesy. There is absolutely nothing, and I've made sure of this with the MTA. There is nothing in the MTA book or in state law that says you even have to supply an agenda. The only time you must supply an agenda and stick to that purpose only is when a special meeting is called. That is state statute. So even if there is a discrepancy, and obviously, no disrespect, there wouldn't be an Open Meetings Act violation there.
You
Just,
are correct.
just to
That's not
clarify.
what I was getting at, but you are correct.
Okay.
And then the third part is it goes to them to be put on the webpage. It goes out on the bulletin board here. Then it goes to Facebook. And it should be getting in all those places looking just like that.
Well, because we have more people that are going to their webpage to make sure everything's correct and according. Anyway, we'll move on from this. The word transparency is almost butchered to death. But maybe this is where people like myself are a little old school. That when you're talking money, you're talking raises, employees and so forth. It would be to my look as a citizen, that there's 5 of you there to discuss monies, raises for your employees, not 3. The other 2 could carry a different opinion on the matter. I'm just saying for transparency, you don't have to, I know that, but you might want to look at that. And for the West launch, if it's the same as it has been for the last year or 2, I have not checked with the supervisor down there this year, but I've looked at it. I've been down there almost every week. It's not been maintained at all. There's one ramp that's not safe to use. And as most people might know that boat, there's been no attendant. And the reason why there was no attendant, and I found this out, is because the state budget didn't allow it. So that's a problem in itself. And when you take people like me that are avid boaters, sometimes we have to manage the launch ourselves when people try to be unruly. But that's the situation we have to be dealt with. I think that's it for now.
On that, that's what Mr. Hoffs was going to talk to the DNR about in regards to why they're not funding an attendant. That was one of the things.
Well, till recently, that's why you've not had an attendant there for about the last 3 to 5 years. It was
Yeah,
the budget.
These people were instrumental in getting boat washing stations in there, and then now there's nobody there to.
It really need to be governed, and they need to clean it up. So maybe by just mentioning this now, get back to the state park, because the state park does govern that West Launch.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Why they always have somebody at North? I don't understand. There's somebody there all the time.
Because at the North State Park,
Yeah,
they have 2 people usually there at State Park, especially on weekends.
yeah. Well, we've asked.
Because it is a state park. That's
Okay.
why the money's governed for state park, but not for West Launch.
The same person is managing both of them in Mara Lake and Muskegon. It's their budget. We're getting the short end of it. Thanks, Sam. Anybody else got a comment? If you were here once and you haven't been, so have at it.
Bill Cleves, Lyon Township. I just wanted to let, most of the people in the township probably don't know how fire and EMS is run here. We have a millage for the fire department. We have no millage for EMS. It comes out of the fire budget, and that's the way we run it. It's getting more expensive now, coming to, meeting how much fire equipment costs with EMS equipment. But we're under a MABUS, which is a mutual aid box alarm system throughout the country. So we'll always have people. So 4 fires, can't guarantee EMS. If we don't have people, our ambulance can transport basic patients to the hospital. We don't need anybody else. But if it's an ALS patient, typically Houghton Lake or Garish come, they put their ALS medic on our ambulance and we go to the hospital. So our patients don't get charged anything. We pay $250 a Houghton Lake for the ALS. Now, if we don't show up on scene and they show up on scene, it's
probably $1,100. Where we didn't charge anything, so it's just. I know it's hard getting people, it's a thing all across the country, nobody's got enough people. If we can keep a couple EMTs around, you know, we can, when they can make that call, it's, don't know the financial outcome of it, actually. So we got, thanks.
Thanks, Bill.
sir. Anybody else got a comment for tonight? Okay, then I think we've run to the end of this meeting anyway. Again, thanks all of you for coming. I should have said it in announcements. I would strongly suggest that anybody who wasn't at the meeting with our attorney, watch that video. I can't even think of anything offhand that was not covered in that video, and it's free. So you can look at all of that. And a lot of the questions, you're gonna get a lot of answers right there.
I can think of one, but we'll save that till another time.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
We gotta make one, somebody.
I thought you said you just.
I'll
I
entertain,
misheard, I'm sorry. Still excited about getting home, I guess. I don't.
so I'll make the motion.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting for this evening.
I'll second it. Any board discussion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning the meeting at this point, you have,
8:56 PM.
signify by saying aye.
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 8:56.
Okay, opposed, the same. Okay, meeting is adjourned.
The lady that was asking about the properties, if she's still there, I have my letter from the thing. That's what they sent me, if you're interested in that. It says, there was not.